Hey everybody, it's your favorite number two, and it's your favorite cheesy boy. How y'all doing? It's lightning in a bottle, live medium. Hey man, we got a good one for you today. The NBA season the NBA season just beginning. That video just recently dropped.
Yeah,
and
check
right
it
now
out. Check it out.
And right now we're going to conclude the WNBA season by talking about a topic that has resurfaced. It's been brought up before, but it got overshadowed when Caitlin Clark got into the league. She was playing bad and started playing good. Angel Reese, her double doubles. You got Asia Wilson, MVP. So all I got overshadowed because the hype of the season was at an all-time high. But now, since the season has concluded and things are kind of settling down, we can actually talk about the real problem of the WNBA. And that is
real problem.
That's
one way to say it.
They're losing an astronomical amount of money. The type of money that would bankrupt a league. We done seen the XFL. No, it's the XFL now, right? Is it called the XFL now?
Yeah, they got the XFL,
okay, so the UFL, and it was the other springtime league. They went through similar situations. 10 million down a hole, 20 million down a hole. Hey, we got to dissolve. Yeah. But then The Rock got smart and partnered up with somebody else, and he combined the XFL and another springtime league and created the UFL and got more money to come in.
Yeah.
But that was in that situation. But in this situation,
and they started getting players straight out of the draft too. At a point in time, they were just picking up people, but now
it was like the veterans who didn't have a job.
But now you can because undrafted guys can go there, and if you play good enough, you can get pulled up. It's almost like being on the practice squad because you can get pulled up to the team at any point in time. So
it's almost like the minor league system in baseball.
Kind of just that minor league. The seasons are at around the same time.
Yeah. All right. So before we get too long-winded on this metaphor. The WNBA is set to lose $50 million. Well, correction, $40 million. That number increased because
oh Lord.
Because of the rate of views. So they said this season was the most watched regular season in the last 24 years at the WNBA. So the ownership from the engagement that's supposed to be set to translate between the WNBA and the NBA is set to do in 2026 with the new CBA. But as of right now, the bottom line for the NBA, and they own 70%. They own 60% of the WNBA right now, and they gave them hundreds of millions of dollars ever since the league started in 1996. But as of now, it's at 75%. On the dollar, percent.
Right.
Yeah. So with that being said, that's where the $10 million had got saved, essentially. So instead of owing 50, the WNBA is losing 40. So because in 2018, it's Adam Silver, the commissioner for the NBA, said that the WNBA has lost an average of more than 10 million annually since its founding. But since with this new CBA deal that's in 2026, the WNBA is set to get $2.2 billion over the next 11 years from the 2026 season, and the league is also set to offer 2 additional packages of matchups that's independent of the NBA, which can push revenues even higher and is possibly as high as $260 million in a season per season for the next 11 years. But so as of right now, they make $60 million annually from all current domestic media contracts.
So as you was talking, I was thinking about it, right? It seems like I just figured out the problem, right? So it's so they had 3 times the viewership this year than they had last year. You would say, that makes up the money. Well, they don't play enough. Even in the playoffs, they don't play 7-game series. They play They played a 3-game series in the first round.
Yeah.
3-game series. Then they played the 5-game series in the last 2 rounds, right? So that's already losing games because most people watch every sport in the playoffs more than they watch the regular season, right? So then you lose that extra money, and then you lose the money from they played 40 games, right? So that's like half the games of the NBA, and then they got 20 less teams. Or not 28, 18 less teams.
They got 16 teams right now, right? I want to say 16.
I guess. I can't even remember. I'm having a brain fart, but yeah, you're right.
It's 16 teams because only 8 make it to the playoffs.
Yeah, but no, it's only 12 teams. Only 4 teams missed the playoffs. That's what I thought.
All right, so the Golden State Valkyries, they're coming next year, and then a Toronto team and a Portland team is coming in 2026. So it'll go from 12 to 15 over the next 2 years.
And this is the thing. They would have to build them in cities that are marketable cities, right? Like, like the LA Sparks and stuff like that, right? Because and then they would have to use those stadiums that's already built. Because if you want to build your own stadiums, you're going more debt. Unless they say, well, building a stadium is straight up on the owner. Whoever buys the team, they have to do that. But until they get more teams, they're not going to be able to make, because it's just not enough games.
Because don't they share arenas now?
Maybe the Sparks do. I'm not sure actually.
I mean, I know the Sparks share with the Lakers. I mean, it'll make more sense because it's the summertime. They're not really playing.
Right.
So that's actually those 30 or so games is actually perfect to fit in the summertime slot.
So 7 of them, it's 7 out of the 12 share the arena. So it's
Vegas got their own facilities.
It's Phoenix, Indiana, Minnesota, New York, and Washington.
Oh, not LA?
I don't know. Hold on. I don't even. That's only 5 teams.
I swear that they had shared. Because don't they got Lisa Leslie jersey?
All right. So the Dallas Wings and the LA Sparks play at college campuses, and then the Chicago Sky and the Connecticut Sun, the Connecticut Sun, they share public spaces. So it's not just the team arena, but the teams that are directly in the same place, like Indiana, they share with the Sixers, and Minnesota share the Timberwolves and stuff like that. So
I know Seattle. I know Seattle's arena that used to be the Supersonics arena.
Right. And so that's the only way they will come about out of this hole. And the best way to probably do it is obviously the cost of a WNBA team is less than the cost of what an NBA team will cost to buy right now because they're still relatively small, but it's they need to do a mass expansion. So
they're bringing in Golden State next year. In the next 2, and then in 2026 they got Portland and Toronto. How you say a mass, so that'll be from 12 to 15. They should get 20 teams. So bringing in another 5 within the next 5 years.
And I can imagine with the uproar just with this year, it's probably a bunch of people that's willing to buy a WNBA team. It's probably a ton of Jerry Joneses out there in the world who buy a team.
If I had won a lottery when it was at 1.6 billion, I'd go buy a WNBA team. Why not? Because even after the taxes, I still have about 700 million. A WNBA team gotta be at least 200, maybe 150.
Maybe. But then you gotta. I mean, obviously, you winning a lottery, I wouldn't do it. But if you got the money, the consistent amount of money coming in to do it, because once you get it established, then you got to find a star player. You gotta retail values, right? Like shirts, hats, all that stuff. You're trying to get all that set up, and then you got to build a fan base, and that's why it's easier to build it in a city that already got a NBA team, because you kind of just hop off of that.
I mean, because I know. Okay, so with the Valkyries, so they're gonna have a draft. So they're gonna draft 12 players from the 12 teams that exist right now. Now, I know there's players that can't be touched, like Asia Wilson not leaving not leaving Vegas, Caitlin Clark not leaving Indiana. You know, like players like that. Those players aren't like leaving. It'll have to be like it have to be like the mid-level, bottom tier players from each team that's up for grabs.
But that's kind of dumb though. They need to do it just like how how these other teams do it when they first come in, like have like a big draft, like you grab these players from college. It's a bunch of good players in college that didn't get drafted, and they might be less of a player, but you bring them all in at one time, and then from there you pick up free agents, like agents and stuff.
I wouldn't even say that they lesser. It's because like you can only have about 11 girls on the team at once. So like all the girls that don't get picked, they're actually like pretty elite, but like it's just not enough space to keep them on the team.
No, but yeah, I mean, all right. So when I say less, I mean more like if you were gonna draft somebody in the 3rd round or like the 4th round or whatever round you were gonna draft them in. I can't remember how much rounds the WNBA had.
I think it's 3. I think they got 3.
3. Okay, so then you would do it like, all right, you get your 1, 2, and 3 picks, right? And then you have a whole list of people who didn't get picked or the people who go undrafted. You should be able to pick. You should get first pick at those players, right?
So
and then you bring them in.
So okay, so you give them, so since they're a first team, you give them the number 1 pick. So the first pick and the first pick and the second.
No, they just they enter the lottery like everybody else.
Oh, like everybody else. Okay.
So I remember when the Ravens was making their team, right? And they drafted Ray Lewis. They drafted Jonathan Ogden all in that draft. It was like you just I don't know how they set it up to figure out where they were going to draft at and all that stuff. But I know they wasn't the number 1 overall pick. You just they do it, some kind of lottery. They land wherever they land at, and then they might be number 7. That's your first pick ever for the franchise. And then you from there, all the free agents. You might have some older players who are free agents. You got to add them on the team, and then you grab a bunch of. It's so much undrafted players from college. Yeah, and when I say lesser, it's like those are players who didn't get drafted normally, but you would add them to your team to build your roster. And then from there, you just get better because there's no new franchise that wins a championship their very first year. It ain't going to work like that because you got to start building it and get cornerstone players and all that stuff.
Unless you draft the South Carolina Gamecocks when they all come out, that's it.
But you can even do that though. Get a bunch of them. Just keep grabbing them. I mean,
yeah. So you get your 3 picks in the draft. Then they'll be like, all right, it's gonna be a supplemental draft just for the Valkyries. They'll probably show that the next day. Like, hey, we select yada 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 yada. We select do 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 do.
And then you got to think about this too, right? Let's say you get Paige Beckers, right? This year, right? All right, we got Paige Beckers. Now we got Paige, but everybody else who we got, they ain't really good players, so we still have a bad season. Now you know what that means. The next season, now you get the draft Juju, or because you're by year 4, you're gonna have cornerstone players, and now you're just building around them. Then when free agency come, right? You might have somebody going to free agency, and they might say, "Oh, this team got Juju and Paige. I'm a sign with this team," and so that's how you build it.
I was thinking that too because I was like, "There's a plethora of veterans that just play overseas."
Right. So you know what I'm saying? Because
you can tell them girls like, "Hey, y'all come. We're gonna have a workout. We're gonna have the undrafted college players. Y'all veterans, y'all come too. We're gonna hold these workouts for the next week. We're gonna run. We're gonna do it. We're gonna have combines." we're probably going to pick like 2 or 3 undrafted college players, and then probably pick like another 4 or 5 veteran players. Because you got to coach up the rookies. You got to coach up the girls who ain't,
right. Like, yeah, you gotta
yet.
have vets. You gotta have vets to show the younger ones the ropes. Like that's how it work when you're in the league.
Yeah. So short-term solution.
You got people like Chiney Ogumake she probably can still play in the WNBA, but she didn't have a start. But now you over up, hey Chiney, you tired of being on there with Stephen A. Smith? Come hoop real quick. Her sister's still in the league. Like she still got she's a player who would have had years left. And if you starting a bunch of franchises, she's like, I can get on one of these rosters. And that's how you do it. Especially if you're only traveling with 11 or 12, you can fill that roster up quick.
All right, so solution long term, add more teams, add more games, reconstruct the playoffs. So it'd be like, even if you say, oh, we'll do best of 5 for the first 2 rounds, and then best of 7 for the last 2 rounds, and then eventually get those first 2 rounds in the best of 7 eventually.
Well, the games thing, I don't know. That they probably play 40 games for a reason. I don't know if I don't know if it's like a wear and tear thing that like 40 games is a long season for them. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's the length of time. I know what you can do right now is add the teams. That's step 1. Adding games, like the most leagues tend to do that to make the money, but I can't see them playing like a 60-game season. I feel like that'll be a lot of games.
I can see them playing a 60-game season, like with the teams, because 12 teams playing 60 games. But if you got 20 teams playing 60 games,
you just made up a couple $1 million right there. You added 8 teams and then you added 20 games a piece. That's 20 times 8 plus the viewership. I mean, that would make up the money, but I don't know. That's what I'm saying. We gotta do more research. Y'all let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
What's the reason why they play 40 games? Is that a lot of games? Is that
I feel that's just because of the amount of teams they got right now. They can't fully fledged make a schedule that's deep like the NBA.
Right.
Because over 30 teams, that's 82 games. You're yeah, okay, I'll double dabble. You literally got the NBA playing every single night. You literally got 10 to 12 teams playing per night. Then by the time you get from October to April, everybody done played.
Well, then they would have to then they gonna have competition because then they would be playing games. Either they're gonna be competing with baseball, basketball, and football because their season gonna be so long. Football season they're in the playoffs and football season now in the middle of it. So now you gonna have to compete. You gonna have to compete with baseball in the playoffs at the same time as you.
Well,
basketball started. And then football will be in the middle of football.
Even with the competition, when Caitlin Clark played her first round series, they had 2.3 million people watching on a football Sunday. I feel like they'll be all right. I feel like they'll be all right.
Well, that would be because of that was early in the football season. When you start to get around week 9 or 10, we'll have to see.
Yeah. Oh yeah, then it'd be bad because the girls' college season will literally just because it's already a short turnaround already. It's gonna be even shorter. So how?
Yeah, well, no. They would extend the season backwards. They wouldn't move it up. They would just extend it backwards, and then a lot of them rookies probably had to come off the bench to make it throughout the
So 12. So 12 girls, so 11, 12 girls might turn into 14, 15 girls. Because you got a longer season.
But we gotta see. I you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna look at some interviews from some of the WNBA players and see how they feel at the end of the season. Like do they feel because like you said, a lot of them go overseas and keep playing. So maybe they probably got something left in the tank by the end of the season. I know when the NBA players talk, by the time they finish the season, it's like we done. We ain't got nothing left for a while.
Especially when we got to make the playoffs or miss the playoffs.
Yeah.
They be making them executives, hey, you gonna lose this game on purpose? I'm trying to go to Cancun tomorrow.
1, 2, 3, Cancun.
But all right, guys, guys and girls, this is another episode of Live Media. So it was like our concluding of the WNBA season, trying to find a way to get them more money, construct a new plan. We're just kind of spitting out ideas. But for the people who like more like economic based, y'all let us know in the comments how we can get this thing worked out. So y'all like, y'all comment, and y'all subscribe, and we will keep coming at y'all with more and more content as the year progresses. It's your favorite number 2, and it's your favorite cheesy boy. We out.